Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Liverpool Latest. I'm your host, Matt, and I am very thankful to be here for another episode talking about everybody's favorite football club, Liverpool FC. I got a lot to talk about today. Pundits are giving their 2 cents on our current situation. Isak is clearly not performing well, and Virgil van Dijk gives some comments that others might be perceived as brutal. Anyhow, if it's any name of any pundit that would shock me in defense of Liverpool, it is Gary Neville. Reason I say that is because as someone who watches football in the United States, I do not have the ability to watch via Sky Sports. That said, those of whom I follow who are fans of Liverpool on social media have that ability and refer to Gary Neville constantly in the fact that he never says a positive thing about the club. He's probably more critical than anybody. Lo and behold, as of recently, Gary Neville has said some positive things about Liverpool, which someone check hell and see if it's frozen over. First and foremost, let's talk about what he thinks about Arne Slot. He says, and to the shock of nobody, he says that Arne Slot's job is not in danger and that he's a really good manager. However, he does have some criticisms and advice that he wants to give, talking about how our punch-for-punch style is clearly not working. And I don't know what punch-for-punch he's talking about because we haven't scored a goal in 2 games and conceded 6 goals in those 2 games. So I don't know what punch for punch we're talking about. We can barely even get a ball on target, never mind in the net. So, but obviously, he and I would both agree that the approach needs to change. Also urges Slot to reverse back down the road. I'm not really sure what he's referring to here. I guess maybe look at what made us successful in the past, which I've talked about a little bit here and there. I mean, obviously, tactically, the formations on the field are not working to the ability that we all hoped they would. The whatever formation he's using is clearly not producing any results. And I am, for one, a fan of the 4-3-3 formation, but obviously that has its problems as well, which we had under Klopp. So that said, Neville also proposed a couple of defensive changes, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm not angry about, and we'll talk about it right here. Drop the current fullbacks and go with 4 center backs, which is a very, very bold move, if I say so myself. Says Kirkez and Konate are struggling badly. And for some reason, he recommends copying Arsenal and Man City with using 4 center backs across the back line, which is very nuts if you think about it. And because it keeps the defense narrow and tight is his reasoning for it. And I'm not going to lie, I see where he's going with, because clearly what's working for Arsenal and Man City is working for should work for us too, or could work for us on paper. And again, obviously, I still believe Kirk has some hope. I want him to do better, but clearly he's not performing to the level that we all want him to be. He's clearly not comfortable in the position that he's in the first place. Konate, everybody knows my feelings on, so I'm not going to beat that dead horse. Obviously, another thing he said was tighten the midfield, which I could not agree more, though I do think our midfield is probably one of our strongest factors, if you ask me. So he's suggesting a narrow midfield 4, including Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gravenberch, and Wirtz or Gakpo. So it seems to me, and this is nuts, but he's suggesting a 4-4-2, which I don't know if I've seen recently, but when I think about it, I think about what a nightmare that could be for all of us, but I also think about what a nightmare could be for opposition trying to get the ball into the offensive zone for them, and I like it. I honestly like it a lot. I think the midfield idea is great. I think the the back four defense is solid. I think it needs a little bit of some work, if you ask me. But this is where I'm a little bit worried in the sense where he has changing the attacking structure to just having two forwards up front, where it's either Salah off for Editike or Salah off for Isak, or Isak and Editike as a pair. And I'm not sure about that because, frankly, none of them are performing. Well, Editike has been doing fine, but none of them are performing the way that we all have hoped, which leads me to my next section. Wayne Rooney also has enough to say, as always. I mean, what else would I expect? He believes that, again, Arne Slot should not be sacked, which I don't know, man. I don't know if it's just what these pundits are trying to do to be in good graces with the club or whatnot, but I don't really think there's any way we could defend Slot at this point, especially if we lose the PSV. All right, if we lose the PSV on Wednesday, pack it in. We're done. Okay, we're donezo. Can't come back from it, if I'm being honest. But he does say in his defense that Slot does need to make a big statement, and that big statement I'm not necessarily disagreeing on is dropping Mohamed Salah. And I mean, I hate to say it as a Salah worshiper, but he's just not working offensively or defensively. He's often leaving the right flank exposed, and he's leaving himself exposed oftentimes when he's running down the pitch. He's got 4 goals in 12 Premier League games this season, and from last year, at this stage of the season, he already had 10 goals. So clearly, something is not working in the sense where the teams have figured out how to defend Salah properly, or the fact that Salah is just not performing up to the standard that we all know and expect him to have. So, you know, and again, he agrees with me in the sense where he points out that opponents are targeting Liverpool's right side. I mean, I've been saying this for weeks now. It's the same fucking game plan every time. Kick the ball to Salah and hope to God he gets far enough to score. But clearly, when he's getting double and triple teamed and he's getting manhandled, admittedly, a lot of times and not getting any calls, you know, I sit here and I look at myself and I'm like, well, I mean, obviously that should be a call, right? But at the same time, can we really be upset about a game plan that is clearly not working for us in 12 games so far this season? You know, the definition of insanity, if we all know, is trying the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And clearly that is not producing any results for us. So I rest my case in that regard. So Rooney thinks Salah has to drop Salah to regain control. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Is it regain control of the club, regain control of the pitch? I'm not opposed to Salah being benched for a game or two, but I don't know. I don't really know what he's trying to say when he says regain control, because first of all, I don't think Mo Salah has that much power to be in control of anything in regards to the team. Maybe he has a little bit more control on the offense because he's kind of the centerpiece of it, but at some point, you know, he should be benched, and I think he should have been benched a long time ago, and clearly there's other factors to that. I hate beating the Diogo Jota dead horse, but every article I see talking about Salah and his struggles points to Jota, and I hate that, but it is what it is. Another striker that I think we all have to be concerned about this season is Isak, and as everybody knows, he has not performed up to par, whether it's because he didn't practice because of his holdout with Newcastle, or whatnot. I have no clue. The fact of the matter is he's been more or less invisible outside of like one goal he's had for us in the... I don't even know if it was the League Cup or the Champions League at this point. That's how long ago it was. I mean, he's got one goal. Congratulations. And it doesn't make any sense. And I've been saying this again for the last few episodes. Isak used to terrorize us on Newcastle. Okay? There was a time where we would face Newcastle and I'd see Isak on the pitch with the ball, and I'm like, oh, we are screwed. And I don't feel that anymore with him on our team. And that makes me upset because why am I not getting the same quality player for the amount of money they spent to get him in the first place? I mean, I think it was like, what, 125 million? It's a lot of money. What are they doing that it's causing them to wait to not do so good? I have no idea. I mean, he's made virtually no impact on the team. He's no threat on offense. He's lackadaisical, if anything, when it comes to, dribbling the ball, passing the ball. He's lacking that sharpness that we expect to see from him. And I'm not even sure if that's also because of the injury he had too. I mean, he didn't play that much during the international break. I think he maybe played a total of like maybe 35, 40 minutes the entire time. And even then, that's being generous. So he's clearly not astonishing and blowing everybody out the water with his performances because he's not lasting long, whether it's for fitness reasons or whatever. But he's just as much of a reason why we're failing as anybody, because we have this, what's supposed to be another crown jewel of this attacking masterclass of a free agency that we picked up over the summer transfer window, and he's done virtually nothing. So I will say this though, and I've been on this guy's praises for a long time. Editike, Ugo Editike. I think he's got to take the spot at some point. He's got to take Salah's spot, or he's got to take Isak's spot. He's the only guy on offense that's been producing, or at least in the striking positions, that have been worth a damn. Gakpo maybe at times, but that's like few and far between. So Editike, I think, needs to be a guy that we go to more often than we have. And the fact that he came on as a defender against in our most recent match is pitiful, to say the least, if I'm being 100% honest with you. So I think that's a complete waste of his talents. But I rest my case. Speaking of defense, Virgil van Dijk allegedly has a brutal statement in a calling out the squad and whatnot, and he admits Liverpool players are letting Arne Slot down and letting themselves down. We knew that weeks ago. We knew that a long time ago, Verge. Like, come on. You're preaching to the choir here. Like, you're not telling me anything that I don't already know as a fan. And I'm no expert, but from what I see on the pitch, it clearly shows me that you guys don't give a fuck, okay? Or at least are content with letting everybody down regardless of where you are on the table right now. And the paying fans in Anfield and away games are just as disappointed in you. So, and he also says that we're a mess and it's unacceptable for Premier League champions. Again, nothing I don't already know. Okay, I don't really know what brutal statement is here, but he also insists that every player must take personal and collective responsibility, and I agree with that for sure. If it's one thing I definitely see is this take particularly. He I don't even know if Verge really could take personal accountability. He's been rough this season, but he hasn't been as bad on defense like Konate has been, Kirk has, Bradley has had his struggles. Granted, he's the captain of the team, so he's going to take the fault whether we all like it or not. But he continues his statements by stating that any player unwilling to fight through the adversity is in the wrong place at Liverpool, and questions whether all the players are actually stepping up. That's a good point. Now we're getting a little spicy here. Is everybody stepping up? Is Konate stepping up? Clearly not. Is Kirkez stepping up? No. I mean, there's only a handful of guys I can consciously say that have stepped up this season, and it's Szoboszlai, Edetike, McAllister, the last couple of weeks anyway, and there might be a couple of names in there too that are escaping me, but those are my top three for sure. If there's those are my top three as of these last couple of weeks, and I think anybody could agree with me on that, or at least most people could agree with me, at least on two of them. Let's be honest. He calls the home loss, the 3-0 home loss, a very bad and unacceptable result. Says they panicked after conceding. They lost their composure and became nervous. Now, I don't agree with this statement, to be honest with you, because I don't think we really collapsed all that bad after the first goal. I think we still tried pretty hard in that first half. It was the second half where we completely collapsed. The second goal is was the straw that broke the camel's back. That's what the problem was there. And of course, Forest just won too many duels. They were a better physical team than we are. We're just soft. At the end of the day, whether or not we want to admit it or not, we're just soft. And it comes down to a bunch of different factors. And I got to be honest, I got to harp on this again. It comes down to leadership. I don't disagree with anything Wayne Rooney said weeks ago, even though we kind of backed down on it like a little bitch on television. But if I was Rooney, I'd stand by those words now, because we're in no different shape than we were when he made those comments initially weeks ago. So I think Verge has to take some responsibility here as a leader. I think Robertson's got to look at it too, since he's the assistant captain, I believe. And everybody has to take that this personally, because the season's lost. I mean, we're not going to retain the championship. There would need to be an astronomical miracle, like pigs have to fly. Something has to happen. All right, hell's got to freeze over. The fat lady is going to sing. Like whatever cliche you want to use, something's got to happen for us outside of our own efforts to help us win the league. Because let's be honest, and I hate to be that guy, as good as we were last season, and we were good, we only were in the position we were for a lot of the time because of Arsenal and Man City's collapses throughout the first half of the season. So, I mean, am I saying anything that's wrong? Don't know. That's my brutal comment. That's all I have to say. And I think we all have to look ourselves in the mirror and accept that a little bit. But anyway, regardless of where we are as a team, I do love you all very much, and I appreciate the support that you give the channel every day I upload a video. Appreciate Fan Arch for allowing me to do this as well. As always, like, comment, subscribe, give me your thoughts and everything. And as always, you will never walk alone, although it may feel like we are all alone in our own deep pit of hell right now with this team. So we'll see what happens in the Champions League on Wednesday. More on that tomorrow.